The universe opens in silence, a black canvas scattered with silver dust. Stars shimmer in the vast dark, their light traveling for billions of years to touch the eyes of creatures who still struggle to understand what they are seeing. From a distance, it looks simple: space, matter, energy, but behind this grand illusion lies something deeper, a rhythm we cannot hear, a structure we cannot see. The universe, magnificent and infinite, may not just be expanding. It might be whispering, hiding, concealing a truth too profound for our current perception. As the camera glides through the cosmic sea, the voice of narration lingers on a haunting thought. What if the universe is not made of what we think? For centuries, humanity has gazed upward with instruments of increasing precision: telescopes, satellites, mathematical equations, trying to decode the language of the cosmos. Yet, with every discovery, we seem to uncover not more clarity but more mystery. The deeper we peer, the more the universe seems to turn its face away, like an ancient deity refusing to reveal its final secret. We once believed that gravity was the grand conductor of all motion, the unseen hand that shaped galaxies and worlds. Then we learned of electromagnetism, the strong and weak nuclear forces, the dance of particles and waves. But somewhere beyond those known notes, the symphony continues, unheard. Something moves unseen through the cosmos, something that bends, pushes, and pulls on everything, yet refuses to be seen or measured directly. In the silent vacuum between galaxies, there is a hum, a vibration that is not sound but existence itself. It threads through every atom, every photon, every human breath. Physicists call it dark energy, dark matter, quantum vacuum fluctuations, but these are names we give to shadows on the wall, not the light that casts them. The true force, the one that holds this cosmic tapestry together, remains beyond comprehension, hidden behind equations and cosmic dust. The human mind was not built for infinity. When we look at the stars, we impose meaning, structure, and story, our desperate attempt to tame the unknown. But the universe does not need our understanding to exist. It moves in silence, a grand and invisible symphony that plays on, indifferent to our awareness. And yet, there is beauty in that indifference. It is the kind of mystery that fuels our greatest curiosity, the same mystery that drove Newton to watch falling apples, Einstein to dream of riding light, and modern scientists to collide particles at nearly the speed of light. Imagine a slow pan through the cosmic web, the filaments of galaxies glowing like neurons in a universal brain. Between those glowing lines stretches nothingness, but that nothingness might be more powerful than everything we see. The unseen force might not be a thing at all, but a property of existence, a balance between creation and void. It might be the echo of the Big Bang, still resonating, still shaping, still deciding the fate of stars and minds alike. And as the music swells, the narrator's voice softens into a whisper. If 95% of the universe is invisible, what does that say about us, the creatures trying to see it? Perhaps the universe hides its force not out of cruelty, but as an invitation. To see, to imagine, to evolve. We stand on a small blue planet, orbiting an ordinary star, yet we dare to question the cosmos itself. Our questions are fragile, but they are powerful. They are the light in the darkness, the notes in the invisible symphony. Somewhere beyond our reach, in the deep silence between galaxies, the force we seek is waiting, unseen, untouchable, but always present. The only question that remains is whether we are ready to listen. Human perception is a fragile window, narrow, distorted, and easily deceived. We believe we see the world as it is, but in truth, we only see a sliver of reality. Our eyes catch a faint fraction of the electromagnetic spectrum, our ears pick up only a limited range of vibration, and our minds filter what little reaches us into something that feels stable, comforting, and familiar. Yet the cosmos beyond that comfort zone is wild, untamed, and invisible. It is as if the universe wears a veil, hiding most of its true face behind frequencies and dimensions that our senses cannot touch. Thousands of years ago, ancient stargazers looked to the heavens, tracing constellations across the night sky. They saw gods, heroes, and monsters, stories woven from pinpricks of light. To them the sky was divine, an arena of myths and meaning. Their eyes could only perceive light, but their imaginations reached beyond it. In a sense they were right, the stars did speak, just not in human language. The universe has always spoken in light, gravity, and energy, but we only hear fragments of its voice. As centuries passed, our tools evolved. Glass lenses became telescopes, telescopes became satellites, and soon we could see beyond visible light, into the ultraviolet, infrared, and radio waves that filled the sky with hidden detail. We discovered pulsars, quasars, and galaxies far beyond what human sight alone could reveal. Yet the more we saw, the more we realized how blind we still were. 95% of the universe seemed missing, made of something unseen. Light, the thing we once thought revealed all, suddenly appeared to illuminate almost nothing. The philosophical weight of that realization was immense. It forced humanity to confront its own limitations. We do not live in the universe as it truly is, we live in a filtered version, constructed by biology and bounded by cognition. Our brains are interpreters, not witnesses. They simplify, categorize, and reconstruct the flood of data into a coherent illusion of reality. What we see as solid matter is mostly empty space. What we experience as stillness is constant atomic motion. What we call nothing might be the most active and powerful state of all. Imagine standing in a dark field at midnight, the Milky Way stretched above like a river of diamonds. Every glimmer you see has traveled millions of years to reach you, and yet that light represents only a fraction of what's truly there. Beyond it lies an ocean of energy invisible to your eyes, waves of radiation your skin can't feel, and gravitational currents bending spacetime itself. The universe, it turns out, is a masterpiece painted in colors we can't perceive. And this veil is not merely physical, it is cognitive, emotional, existential. Our perception of time is linear, but the universe may not be. Our understanding of cause and effect assumes simplicity, but quantum mechanics whispers of chaos beneath order. Every discovery tears a small hole in the fabric of the familiar, letting in just enough light to reveal how little we truly know. The more we uncover, the more mysterious the cosmos becomes. Yet that mystery is what drives us. The veil does not discourage, it tempts. Scientists, philosophers, and dreamers all share the same longing, to lift it even slightly and glimpse the machinery behind creation. The pursuit is not just about knowledge, it's about meaning. Because if there are forces we cannot see, energies we cannot detect, perhaps there are also truths we cannot yet imagine. From the depths of the ocean to the edge of the observable universe, humanity has always been guided by an ache, a sense that something lies beyond reach. This ache is the pulse of curiosity, the same force that compels us to explore, question, and challenge. The universe hides, but we chase. It veils itself, but we invent new eyes, microscopes, detectors, quantum sensors, to pierce the dark. And so the narrative builds. The universe is not silent nor cruel. It is simply vast, its truths spread across dimensions we are not yet equipped to sense. The cosmic veil is both barrier and invitation. It is the reason we wonder, the reason we dream, the reason we seek answers among the stars. At the edge of this realization, a question emerges, not scientific but philosophical. If most of the universe is hidden from us, can we ever claim to understand reality at all? Are we explorers of truth, or are we blind artists painting what little we can see? The camera slowly pulls back from Earth, shrinking our blue world into a speck suspended in darkness. The narrator's voice returns, low and reflective. Perhaps the greatest illusion of all is believing that we already see. The music fades into silence. The veil remains. And yet, beyond that silence, the universe continues to hum, an invisible chorus waiting to be heard. Centuries ago, when Isaac Newton watched an apple fall from a tree, he unknowingly set in motion humanity's quest to understand the invisible hands that govern everything. That single moment, simple yet profound, became the seed of our comprehension of forces, gravity, motion, and the universal laws that tied the heavens to the earth. Newton's revelation was revolutionary. The same force that pulled the apple down was the same that bound the moon in its orbit. For the first time, the cosmos and the human world were unified under a single principle, a force that could be measured, predicted, understood. But as powerful as it was, gravity was just the beginning of the story. Over the following centuries, humanity discovered three more fundamental interactions: electromagnetism, the strong nuclear force, and the weak nuclear force. Each one unlocked new chapters in the cosmic narrative. Electromagnetism revealed the beauty of light, electricity, and magnetism as different faces of the same entity. The nuclear forces exposed the violent yet elegant mechanics that hold atoms together and fuel the stars. Together, these four forces became the pillars of physics, the structure on which all our understanding of reality seemed to rest. But in the gaps between these theories, whispers began to emerge, hints that something was missing, a piece of the puzzle unseen yet indispensable. As our instruments grew sharper and our equations more intricate, strange inconsistencies began to appear. Galaxies rotated faster than gravity could explain. The expansion of the universe was accelerating when it should have been slowing down. Entire clusters of galaxies were behaving as though held together by something invisible, something massive yet undetectable. Scientists adjusted their formulas, refined their models, but no matter how precise the math became, the mystery only deepened. It was as if the universe was holding back a secret, hiding one final force behind a curtain of silence. This missing link soon gained a name whispered with both reverence and doubt: the fifth force. Unlike gravity or electromagnetism, it could not be captured in equations or contained in laboratories. It was speculative, elusive, and often dismissed as fantasy. Yet its fingerprints seemed to appear everywhere. In the bending of light around galaxies, in the behavior of subatomic particles, even in the vacuum between atoms. Each clue felt like an echo from something deeper, a presence we could sense but not define. Imagine physicists working late into the night, surrounded by blackboards filled with symbols that seem to pulse with meaning. Each equation is a spell, an invocation to reveal what lies beyond. They test, they fail, they try again, haunted by the thought that nature is playing a cosmic game of hide-and-seek. The deeper they dig, the more they realize how fragile their understanding truly is. For every mystery solved, two new ones rise in its place. And yet, the pursuit continues, driven by a mix of curiosity and obsession. What if gravity as we know it isn't the complete story? What if there exists a hidden field permeating all space, a subtle fabric binding energy, matter, and consciousness itself? Theories emerge like waves in a storm: modified gravity, scalar fields, supersymmetry, dark energy equations that hint at a universal pressure pushing galaxies apart. Each idea brings a flicker of clarity, then fades back into the dark. The contrast between what we know and what we don't becomes the emotional core of this journey. On one side lies human triumph, the beauty of discovery, the brilliance of intellect that mapped the stars and split the atom. On the other lies human limitation, the humbling realization that our greatest theories might only describe a small fraction of reality. This tension fuels the story like a heartbeat, pulling the viewer between wonder and unease. In the 20th century, Einstein reshaped our understanding of gravity with his theory of general relativity, showing that massive objects curve spacetime itself. It was elegant, breathtaking, and experimentally proven. But even Einstein's equations failed to account for the universe's accelerating expansion. Later, when quantum mechanics rose to dominance, it revealed a world of probabilities and uncertainty, a microscopic chaos underlying the cosmic order. Yet, try as they might, physicists could not reconcile Einstein's smooth, continuous universe with quantum theory's jittering, probabilistic one. It was as though two incompatible truths were both correct, and the missing bridge between them was the hidden force the universe refused to show. In this landscape of unanswered questions, the fifth force became a symbol, not just of a scientific mystery but of humanity's eternal yearning for unity. Every civilization, from ancient mystics to modern physicists, has sought to uncover a single principle behind all creation, a theory of everything. Whether through equations or philosophy, the goal remains the same: to find the source, the one force that breathes coherence into the chaos. The story crescendos with a powerful reflection. If the universe truly hides a fifth force, then perhaps it hides it not to deceive us, but to drive us, to keep us reaching, questioning, evolving. The unknown is not an obstacle. It is a mirror showing us how far we've come and how much further we must go. The scene fades to an image of the night sky, a billion galaxies swirling like sparks in a cosmic fire. The narrator's voice echoes softly: "We've named gravity, we've mapped light, we've measured the atom. Yet something beyond all measure still moves us, shapes us, and binds us. A forgotten force, older than stars, waiting to be found." The screen fades to black. The silence that follows is not empty. It vibrates as if the universe itself is listening. In the dim glow of a laboratory at midnight, equations sprawl across blackboards like cryptic constellations. Chalk dust floats in the air, suspended between thought and revelation. A scientist stands silently before the board, staring at the patterns his own hand has drawn, symbols of order, yet whispers of something beyond it. The equations fit mostly. They describe the dance of particles, the pull of gravity, the expansion of space. But then, at the far edge of precision, the numbers begin to tremble. They do not break, but they hum, softly, strangely, as if hiding a secret between the lines. This is where the story of the whispering equations begins. Mathematics has always been humanity's purest attempt to translate reality into reason. Numbers do not lie, or so we believe. Yet sometimes even numbers become haunted. When Einstein first wrote the equations of general relativity, they sang with elegance: gravity not as a force but as a curvature of space and time. But there was a problem, one so subtle it almost went unnoticed. The universe, according to those equations, should not be static. It should be either expanding or collapsing. Einstein could not accept that. The night sky seemed still, eternal, so he inserted a cosmological constant into his formula, a silent correction meant to restore balance. Years later he would call it the greatest blunder of his life. But perhaps it wasn't a mistake at all. Perhaps it was a glimpse of something real, something the universe was whispering before we could understand its voice. As the 20th century unfolded, mathematicians and physicists began to listen more closely to those whispers. Tiny inconsistencies emerged in the most trusted models. The gravitational pull of galaxies didn't match their visible mass. The motion of stars defied Newton's law. It was as though an invisible hand was tugging at the cosmos, adding weight where there was none. Scientists tried to patch the equations to adjust variables to make the numbers behave, but they resisted, as if alive, as if determined to keep their secret. These were not random errors. They were patterns, subtle, repeating, persistent. The universe seemed to be speaking in mathematics, sending clues through the failures of our models. Each whisper, each deviation pointed toward a missing component, a force or field unaccounted for. Some researchers began calling it dark energy, others speculated about modified gravity or hidden dimensions. The names changed, but the feeling remained the same. Something immense and invisible was moving through the equations like wind through leaves. The tension in the scientific world grew. Some clung to the comfort of existing laws, refusing to accept what the numbers implied. Others followed the whispers deeper into uncertainty, risking reputation for revelation. They spoke of scalar fields that fill the vacuum, of quantum fluctuations that ripple through nothingness, of unseen symmetries that bind matter and energy in elegant silence. They began to suspect that the universe might be written in a code more complex than any human could fully translate. Imagine a vast blackboard in an empty lecture hall, covered with layers of symbols, Greek letters, integrals, tensors, an entire symphony of logic. The equations are not cold or sterile, they shimmer with quiet emotion, with tension and promise. To the untrained eye they are gibberish. But to the few who understand they are poetry, lines that connect galaxies and quarks, black holes and atoms. Yet in the spaces between those symbols, in the errors and approximations, the real story unfolds. It is there, in the silence between numbers, that the universe seems to breathe. Sometimes the equations even contradict themselves. Quantum mechanics and general relativity, our two most successful theories, speak in different languages. When you try to combine them, chaos erupts. Infinite values appear where none should exist. Reality breaks down under its own logic. These are not failures of mathematics. They are messages, like static between two stations, hinting that a deeper signal lies beyond. The equations whisper, but we do not yet understand their dialect. And then there are the coincidences, those eerie alignments in nature's constants that seem too precise to be accidental. The strength of gravity, the charge of the electron, the cosmological constant, all balanced on a razor's edge. Change any of them slightly and the universe as we know it collapses. Is this coincidence or orchestration? Some physicists feel the chill of design in those numbers. Others see only the inevitable outcome of infinite possibilities. But either way, the math hums with intent, as though the cosmos itself were tuned to a frequency just beyond our reach. The human reaction to these whispers oscillates between wonder and terror. To discover that our equations, our most reliable tools, might be incomplete is humbling, almost painful. Yet within that imperfection lies hope. Every inconsistency is an invitation, a door half open, leading toward something greater. The unknown does not mock us, it beckons us. In the cinematic quiet of the final moments, the scene lingers on a physicist's hand drawing one last symbol on the board, a question mark beside an unfinished equation. The chalk pauses, trembling as if aware that the meaning it seeks might never be found. The narrator's voice returns, soft and deliberate. Perhaps the universe has already told us its secret. Perhaps it has spoken in numbers so vast, we mistook their silence for emptiness. The camera pulls back. The equations fill the frame, glowing faintly under the dim light, like a constellation of thought suspended in darkness. They do not scream their truth, they whisper it. And somewhere, hidden within those whispers, lies the force the universe is hiding from us. It begins with a paradox. The most powerful force in the universe is one we cannot see, touch, or measure directly. It leaves no trail, no shimmer, no flicker in the spectrum of light, yet it sculpts galaxies, commands cosmic expansion, and governs the very architecture of reality. We call it dark energy, though dark is not its true nature. It is not darkness in the sense of shadow or evil, it is darkness in the sense of ignorance, the absence of understanding, the black canvas upon which the cosmos paints its grandest mysteries. Imagine floating at the edge of the observable universe, where galaxies drift like embers in a cosmic wind. Between them stretches a vast ocean of emptiness, or so it seems. But in truth, that emptiness is seething with energy invisible and infinite. It pushes galaxies apart, accelerating the expansion of the universe, rewriting the destiny of everything that exists. Scientists once believed gravity would slow the universe down, perhaps even pull it back into a final collapse. Instead, something else, something opposite, began to push it outward faster and faster, as if the cosmos itself were fleeing from an unseen presence. In 1998, two teams of astronomers studying distant supernovae stumbled upon the impossible. The universe was not slowing its expansion, it was speeding up. Their discovery shattered decades of certainty. Suddenly, Einstein's cosmological constant, once dismissed as a mathematical mistake, made sense again. It wasn't an error, it was a prophecy. The equations had whispered the truth long before we were ready to hear it. What Einstein added to balance the universe turned out to be the key to its acceleration. The forgotten constant became the signature of the ghost energy pervading space. But what exactly is this force that drives galaxies apart? The simplest answer is that it's the energy of the vacuum itself, the restless hum of quantum fields that never truly go silent. Even in absolute emptiness, virtual particles flash in and out of existence, their brief lives adding up to a vast, invisible pressure. Yet when scientists tried to calculate this vacuum energy using quantum mechanics, the result was absurd. 10 superscript 1 superscript 2 times larger than what the universe actually displays. It was the most disastrous miscalculation in the history of physics, suggesting that something fundamental was missing in our understanding. Perhaps dark energy is not vacuum energy at all, but something deeper, a dynamic field woven through spacetime, shifting and evolving as the universe expands. Some call it quintessence, a fifth element beyond earth, air, fire, and water, a term borrowed from ancient philosophy reborn in modern physics. Others suggest it is an illusion, the product of gravity behaving differently at cosmic scales. Whatever its nature, its presence is undeniable. It is the silent architect of the cosmos, responsible for more than 2/3 of all that exists, and yet it remains untouchable. Imagine a slow cinematic pan through the universe, galaxies like islands of light adrift in a dark sea, filaments of matter stretching between them like the veins of a living organism. Now imagine that this entire cosmic web floats on an invisible tide, an unseen current pushing it apart, stretching the fabric of space itself. The galaxies are not moving through space, space itself is expanding between them, carrying them farther apart like leaves on a rising tide. That tide is dark energy, the ghost ocean beneath the stars. There is beauty and terror in this revelation. Beauty because it reveals the universe as alive, dynamic, ever-changing, filled with mystery. Terror because it reminds us of our fragility. The same force that birthed galaxies will one day render them lonely and cold, drifting forever in an expanding void. In the far future, dark energy will tear the cosmic web apart, silence the stars, and erase the memory of creation. The universe, once radiant with light, will fade into eternal night, a vast, frozen silence driven by the invisible hand of this ghost energy. Yet even as the cosmos races toward its quiet destiny, dark energy might hold the key to something profound. Some physicists suggest it could be the shadow of another dimension, a faint reflection of a higher-order reality pressing against our own. Others whisper of a multiverse, where countless universes bloom and die, each governed by different versions of this hidden force. To them, dark energy is not merely an effect. It is a message, a residue of creation itself. Philosophers see something else in it, a metaphor for the unseen energies within us. Just as the universe expands into mystery, so does consciousness. We are drawn toward understanding, compelled to explore the unknown, even as the answers recede like galaxies in the distance. The ghost energy outside may mirror the restless curiosity within, the endless hunger to know what lies beyond perception. The scene slows. The music softens into a low hum, mirroring the vibration of the quantum void. The camera drifts through empty space, past clusters of galaxies receding into the dark. The narrator's voice returns, calm and haunting. Perhaps dark energy is not the universe's secret at all, perhaps it is its language. A silent force speaking through motion, expansion, and time, reminding us that creation is not over, that existence itself is still unfolding. In the end, the ghost energy is more than a scientific mystery, it is a revelation of humility. It tells us that what we call empty space is not empty at all, that what we dismiss as void may be the heart of everything. The universe, vast and indifferent, is not finished speaking. It continues to hum softly but endlessly through the dark. And somewhere in that hum, in the whispers of the ghost energy, lies the force the universe is hiding from us. Space has always been our symbol for emptiness, a silent, black expanse separating the islands of light we call stars. For centuries we imagined the void as nothingness itself, a great cosmic gulf between matter and meaning. Yet the deeper science looks, the more that illusion dissolves. The void isn't empty. It is alive, a restless, invisible sea where particles blink in and out of existence, where energy trembles beneath silence, and where the blueprint of reality quietly unfolds. If we could zoom in beyond atoms, beyond even quarks and gluons, we would find no stillness there, only motion, vibration, flickering fields. The vacuum is a storm. It's not an absence of matter, but a balance between creation and annihilation, a perpetual exchange between what is and what could be. Virtual particles erupt from nothing, collide, and vanish in less than a trillionth of a second. Yet in those fleeting moments they shape everything, from the structure of atoms to the birth of galaxies. The nothingness we once feared is, in truth, the beating heart of the universe. Quantum physics first revealed this strange underworld. When scientists tried to measure the energy of a perfect vacuum, their instruments found fluctuations, tiny pulses of energy that could not be explained. It was as if space itself were breathing, expanding and contracting in microseconds. These fluctuations were not errors. They were evidence of something profound. The quantum vacuum, a vast energy field woven through every inch of the cosmos. Even in total darkness, this field hums with invisible life. The discovery shook our understanding of existence. If empty space is not truly empty, then what we think of as reality may just be the visible crust atop an ocean of invisible forces. The solid world we see, planets, stars, galaxies, is less than the foam on that ocean's surface. Beneath lies the true cosmos, unseen but omnipresent, a vast network of quantum fields vibrating with possibility. Everything we are, everything we touch, rises and falls from that unseen ocean like waves that briefly take form before dissolving back into the deep. Picture a dark room filled with mist. The mist is invisible until light passes through it, only then does it shimmer and reveal its form. The universe is much the same. Light reveals only what interacts with it. The rest remains hidden, unseen but present. The empty space between galaxies, between atoms, even between subatomic particles, is not a void but a matrix, a hidden infrastructure of energy. Without it, nothing could exist. It's the silent stage upon which the play of reality unfolds. And yet, for all its vitality, the vacuum carries a paradox. It both creates and destroys, sustains and dissolves. In its ceaseless flicker, particles appear from nothing, then annihilate into nothing again. It is as if existence itself oscillates between being and non-being, forever unsure of which side it belongs to. This tension, this eternal rhythm of creation and erasure, might be the true essence of the universe, not matter, not light, but this dance of uncertainty. Some physicists propose that even gravity may emerge from this restless void, not as a fundamental force, but as a shadow of the quantum field's entanglement. In this view, spacetime itself is a consequence, not a foundation. The vacuum is the root, the origin, the hidden machinery beneath perception. If this is true, then the universe does not simply exist in space. It is space, a living, breathing fabric of fluctuating energy, where every star and atom is just a note in an infinite symphony. The implications reach beyond physics. If nothingness itself teems with energy, what does that say about creation? About beginnings? The Big Bang, once imagined as an explosion of matter into emptiness, may instead have been a transformation within this sea of energy, a quantum awakening rather than a singular birth. The universe may not have started from nothing because nothing in this sense never existed. The void was always there, humming softly, waiting to take shape. The philosophical weight of this truth is immense. Humanity has long sought meaning in something tangible, in the material, the measurable, the seen. But what if meaning lies instead in the unseen? What if existence depends not on substance, but on the emptiness that gives it room to unfold? Ancient mystics once spoke of the void as sacred, the womb of creation. Modern physics, in its own way, has arrived at the same conclusion, that the vacuum is not the death of meaning but its source. As the scene unfolds, imagine the camera gliding through interstellar space. It passes through clouds of gas and dust, through the glowing edge of a nebula, then out into pure darkness. For a moment there is silence, and then, faintly, a shimmer. Invisible waves ripple across the void, like the surface of a black ocean touched by unseen wind. The narrator's voice rises, steady and reverent. We once thought the void was empty. But emptiness, it seems, is an illusion. The silence of space is not absence, it is potential. Every atom, every star, every thought is born from this invisible sea. The music swells, deep and resonant. The viewer feels the weight of the revelation, that nothingness itself is alive, that the cosmos hides its pulse within the quiet. The screen fades to darkness once more, but the hum of the quantum vacuum seems to remain, lingering like an echo in the mind. And in that hum, in that trembling silence, lies the secret of creation, proof that the void was never empty and never will be. They stand at the edge of comprehension, the ones who dare to look into the unseen. The architects of the unseen are not builders of stone and steel, but of theories, equations and dreams. Their laboratories are temples of silence where the hum of machines replaces prayer, and the chalk-dusted air carries the weight of centuries of longing. They are not just scientists, they are seekers, poets of precision, listening for whispers in the dark fabric of the cosmos. Each discovery they chase is both illumination and heartbreak, for every light they kindle exposes new shadows beyond it. Imagine a lone astrophysicist staring at the glow of data on a computer screen, eyes flickering with reflection and exhaustion. Somewhere in those blinking lines of numbers, there might be proof of the invisible, evidence of the mysterious energy that drives galaxies apart. She zooms, calculates, compares, and still, it evades her. The signal is faint, like the sound of wind through an empty cathedral. This is the daily rhythm of the architects of the unseen, to build castles from uncertainty, to reach for truths that forever retreat just beyond their grasp. The story of these explorers begins in curiosity but evolves into obsession. From Einstein's curved spacetime to Vera Rubin's haunting observations of galaxies spinning too fast, they have all encountered the same paradox: a universe that doesn't add up. Rubin's measurements of galactic motion were supposed to be routine, but instead they shattered the peace of physics. The stars were moving as if bound by an invisible glue, something massive yet undetectable. She could not see it, but she felt its pull in the mathematics. That night, staring through her telescope, she realized that the majority of the cosmos might be invisible. That revelation did not win her fame immediately, it won her silence. The scientific world, cautious and proud, was not ready to accept what it could not see. The architects of the unseen live in that silence. They are used to being doubted, dismissed, even ridiculed. Yet they persist, driven not by proof but by faith in logic's power to reveal what the eye cannot. They design experiments that push the limits of technology, detectors buried deep beneath mountains, satellites orbiting Earth, and colliders smashing atoms to recreate the birth of the cosmos. In every experiment they are asking the same question: what force moves through the dark? In the mountains of Italy, beneath a kilometer of rock, one of these detectors waits in stillness. It watches for the faintest flicker, a particle passing through, an echo of dark matter brushing reality. For months, years, it records nothing but silence. Yet in that silence lies purpose. For these scientists, discovery is not an event. It is a posture, the act of listening to the universe with infinite patience. They understand that nature does not reveal herself easily. She hides her secrets in patterns too delicate to see, in symmetries too perfect to notice. Their journey is not purely scientific. It is existential. They wrestle with questions that transcend physics. Why does the universe hide most of itself? Why are we tuned to perceive only a fragment of reality? Are we even capable of grasping the total truth? These thoughts haunt them during sleepless nights, when the glow of the computer screen fades into the darkness of their doubts. And yet, in those moments they feel closest to revelation, because mystery, they know, is the language of progress. Each of these explorers carries a quiet duality. They are rationalists, anchored in evidence, but also dreamers who must believe in the unseen to keep searching for it. Their work demands humility before the infinite and defiance against it at once. Some break under the weight of that tension. Others transcend it, turning confusion into creativity, chaos into equations. The cinematic camera pans across their world, from chalk-streaked classrooms to observatories under starlit skies. It lingers on faces etched with fatigue, eyes filled with the reflection of galaxies. It captures their solitude, their moments of doubt, and the rare flicker of awe when a pattern finally makes sense. Theirs is not a journey of comfort but of courage, the courage to question reality itself. And yet, the architects of the unseen are united by something more profound than science, by reverence. Whether they admit it or not, they sense a kind of holiness in the laws they study. To glimpse the hidden force is to touch the divine, to peer behind the veil of creation. They do not worship it, but they respect it, that vast intelligence, that cosmic architecture that humbles all who try to decipher it. In the final moments of this section, the narrator's voice softens. They search not for fame nor fortune, but for understanding. Their instruments measure the universe, but their hearts measure wonder. They are the architects of the unseen, builders of bridges between ignorance and infinity. The music rises, strings swelling, low drums echoing like distant thunder. The scene fades to black, leaving the faint hum of data still processing, still searching, as if the universe itself were answering back. There is a moment, brief yet infinite, when light meets darkness, when knowledge reaches the edge of the unknown and hesitates. Between light and shadow, humanity stands, peering into the invisible with instruments and imagination. This is not merely a scientific frontier, but a philosophical one. For in chasing the universe's hidden forces, we are also chasing ourselves, our limits, our capacity to understand. The contrast between what we know and what remains unseen defines not just science but existence itself. Imagine the cosmos as a cathedral of light, filled with stars, nebulae, and radiant galaxies. Each glow is a truth discovered, a revelation hard-won through centuries of curiosity. Yet surrounding that brilliance lies an ocean of shadow, cold, silent, infinite. In that darkness hides the majority of the universe's mass, energy, and meaning. Humanity has illuminated only a small corner of creation, while the rest remains veiled, watching. The deeper our light shines, the more shadows it reveals, as if the act of understanding itself generates new mysteries. Between light and shadow, perception becomes both a tool and a trap. Our eyes deceive us. Our instruments extend our reach but not our comprehension. We see light but not what it hides. We measure particles but not the silence between them. In the unseen gaps, philosophers and scientists alike sense the pulse of something beyond, a hidden rhythm connecting the known to the unknowable. Perhaps the universe is not a puzzle to be solved, but a dialogue to be understood, an ever-unfolding conversation between what is visible and what resists revelation. For every age of discovery, there has been an age of humility. When Newton uncovered gravity, it seemed all was explained, until Einstein revealed the bending of spacetime. When Einstein mapped the curvature of the cosmos, it seemed complete, until quantum physics shattered reality into uncertainty. Now, as we uncover dark energy and hidden dimensions, we are reminded again, knowledge is not a destination, but a flickering candle carried through an endless night. The brighter the flame, the darker the horizon beyond. Philosophically, the hidden force of the universe poses a profound question. Not just what is reality but how much of it we can ever truly perceive. If 95% of existence is invisible, then our reality may be little more than a projection, a shadow cast by forces our minds are not designed to grasp. Ancient thinkers like Plato described humanity as prisoners in a cave, mistaking shadows for truth. Today, quantum mechanics and cosmology suggest something eerily similar, that our senses and instruments detect only the faint reflections of a far deeper structure. The emotional tension of this realization is immense. It evokes both awe and fear, awe at the grandeur of a universe that refuses to be fully known, and fear at our smallness within it. Yet in that tension lies beauty. The contrast between light and darkness is what gives the cosmos its form, its drama, its meaning. Without shadow, light is blinding. Without mystery, truth loses its power to inspire. Imagine a cinematic sequence. Beams of sunlight breaking through clouds over a dark mountain range, galaxies spinning in luminous spirals while voids yawn between them like cosmic abysses. The narrator's voice weaves through the imagery, measured and reverent. Every light we see is born of shadow. Every truth we uncover casts a new darkness. Between knowledge and ignorance, we find the pulse of creation. The scientists who study these mysteries are not immune to their philosophical gravity. Some believe the hidden force, dark matter, dark energy, or something beyond both, is a clue to a grand unity, a single equation binding all reality. Others believe it reveals a limit, an unbridgeable boundary between human perception and cosmic truth. One group sees hope, the other humility. One sees a door, the other sees a wall. The universe, indifferent yet eloquent, offers no clear answer. Still, the pursuit continues, not out of arrogance but reverence. To study the unseen is to accept uncertainty as a companion. It is to walk in shadow without fear, trusting that every mystery deepens meaning rather than destroys it. The hidden force becomes not just a scientific challenge, but a metaphor for consciousness itself, that invisible presence shaping every thought, emotion, and dream. The universe hides its force, just as the mind hides its depths, and both reveal themselves only to those who dare to dwell between light and shadow. In the closing scene, the camera moves slowly through a corridor of alternating light and darkness, a visual metaphor for the human journey. The voice returns, quiet and resolute. Perhaps the universe hides its truth not to keep us ignorant, but to keep us searching. Between light and shadow lies everything we are, and everything we are meant to discover. The music fades, leaving only the soft hum of cosmic background radiation, the echo of creation itself. The light dims, but it does not vanish. In its place, a deeper glow remains, not of certainty but of wonder. For in that thin border between the known and the unknown, humanity finds its truest reflection. It began as a mistake, a small, almost imperceptible deviation in the numbers. A particle that shouldn't have existed. A signal that defied every known law. In the sterile glow of particle accelerators and underground detectors, something began to whisper from the fabric of reality itself. A blip. A flicker. A particle that appeared, behaved, and vanished in ways no model could predict. Physicists dismissed it as noise and error, a ghost in the data. But when it returned, again and again, they could no longer look away. The universe was trying to tell them something. In 2016, deep within the halls of particle colliders, scientists detected subtle irregularities in the behavior of muons, heavier cousins of the electron. They wobbled differently than theory demanded, as if responding to an invisible field. It was as if something unseen was tugging on them, a force unaccounted for, an interaction unrecognized. The world's brightest minds recalculated, reanalyzed, retried the experiments. But the anomaly persisted. Somewhere between the equations of the known and the silence of the unknown, something had slipped through. The discovery reignited one of physics' oldest dreams, that there might exist a fifth force, beyond the gravitational, electromagnetic, strong and weak interactions. A hidden player shaping the universe from behind the curtain. It could be subtle, like the faint whisper of an unseen wind, or vast, governing the behavior of galaxies and atoms alike. But to prove it, one would have to find its signature, a trace in the chaos of subatomic collisions or cosmic radiation. So, experiments multiplied, underground detectors shielded from cosmic rays, massive accelerators smashing protons to recreate the birth of time, and satellites scanning the heavens for particles that slipped through light's net. And then, occasionally, something strange appeared, a flash of energy where none should be, a deviation that mocked prediction. These anomalies came and went like cosmic mirages, tempting and cruel. The data hinted at dark photons, particles that could carry the unseen force between dark matter and the visible world. But each time scientists reached for certainty, it dissolved. The pattern never stayed still. It was as though reality itself was playing a trick, offering glimpses of its hidden architecture, then retreating into silence. Imagine the scene in a dark laboratory, a row of monitors glowing blue, the hum of cooling systems, the rhythmic beeping of data being collected. A young researcher watches the numbers scroll, heart pounding, realizing the deviation she sees could rewrite physics. In that moment she is caught between awe and fear. Awe because she may have just glimpsed something no human has ever witnessed. Fear because if she's right, everything humanity thinks it knows about the universe is incomplete. The particle that shouldn't exist has become a symbol, a ghost of knowledge haunting the boundaries of science. Some call it the X-17 particle, others a statistical phantom. But its implications stretch beyond measurement. It represents the thin line between certainty and imagination, between logic and mystery. For every confirmed law of nature, there lies an exception waiting to be found, an outlier that refuses to obey. And in that refusal, truth hides. This moment in science is a mirror of philosophy's oldest conflict. Do we live in a universe that can be fully explained, or one that forever transcends explanation? The anomalies whisper that perhaps the cosmos is not mechanical but alive, responsive, shifting, aware of being observed. The act of watching may itself change what is seen. The deeper we probe into matter, the more it behaves like thought, uncertain, fluid, abstract. The boundary between physics and metaphysics begins to blur. Some scientists resist this interpretation. They warn against mysticism, insisting that nature is logical, even if our logic is incomplete. Others lean into the mystery, seeing the unknown as a kind of invitation. Perhaps the universe's secrets are not meant to be conquered, but understood with humility. Maybe the particle that shouldn't exist is not an error, but a messenger. A reminder that knowledge has a pulse, and that discovery is an act of faith as much as of reason. Cinematically, the story unfolds like a cosmic thriller. The camera drifts through the colossal tunnels of CERN, where machines the size of cities slam protons together at near light speed. Sparks of light burst across detectors like microscopic stars. The narration swells. In these collisions we are not just breaking atoms, we are breaking illusions. Each burst of light is a question hurled into the void. Each silence that follows is the void's reply. For the architects of modern physics, the stakes are immense. To find a new particle that violates the standard model is not merely to update the textbooks, it is to rewrite the language of existence. It means the universe is built upon principles we have not yet imagined, and that the very laws of nature may be fluid, evolving. It means that what we call reality may only be one layer of a far more intricate design. As the section closes, the narrator's tone softens, contemplative. Perhaps the universe allows anomalies not to confuse us, but to remind us that certainty is a myth. Every strange particle, every unexplained motion, every whisper in the data, they are not errors. They are echoes of creation, hints of the hidden force that shapes all things. The final shot lingers on a single glowing monitor, numbers cascading across the screen, then freezing for a split second. One more deviation, one more impossibility. The screen flickers and the light fades. In the darkness that follows, only the hum of the machines remains, steady and eternal, the sound of the universe breathing. Imagine floating beyond the edge of the Milky Way, beyond the light of stars, beyond the reach of human instruments, into a darkness so complete it seems eternal. Then, as your eyes adjust to the infinite black, a faint structure begins to emerge. Threads of light stretch across the void, connecting galaxies like luminous veins. They twist, shimmer, and branch, forming an intricate web that spans the cosmos. This is the hidden skeleton of the universe, the cosmic web, and it is held together by something we cannot see. Something invisible yet undeniable. The hidden web is not a metaphor. It is real, a vast lattice of galaxies and dark matter stretching for billions of light years. Every cluster of stars, every nebula, every supermassive black hole is suspended within its filaments, drawn together by the gravitational pull of an unseen presence. Dark matter, the mysterious substance that neither emits nor reflects light, acts as the invisible scaffolding of existence. Without it, the universe as we know it would collapse into chaos. Scientists first stumbled upon hints of this hidden architecture in the latter half of the 20th century. As telescopes grew stronger, astronomers noticed that galaxies were not randomly scattered across space. They formed patterns, threads, knots, and vast empty voids between them. When computer simulations of cosmic evolution were run using only visible matter, the results were wrong. The structures formed too loosely, too slowly. But when they added invisible mass, dark matter, the universe came alive. The simulations matched the real cosmos almost perfectly. The invisible had revealed its hand. Dark matter does not glow, does not interact with light, and cannot be touched. We know of its existence only through its influence. The way it bends light from distant galaxies, the way it accelerates stars within galactic spirals. It is the ghost that shapes the dance of galaxies, the unseen architect behind the beauty we observe. Roughly 85% of all matter in the universe is dark matter, yet no one knows what it is made of. Some theories describe it as exotic particles, WIMPs, axions, sterile neutrinos, while others propose it may be something even stranger, perhaps a distortion in the very geometry of space itself. The image of the universe as a web is both scientific and spiritual. Imagine billions of glowing filaments stretching across the cosmos, connecting every galaxy to every other. Each filament is a river of gravity, flowing unseen, guiding the movement of matter across cosmic time. Between these filaments lie vast voids, immense regions of almost perfect nothingness, where a single galaxy might drift in solitude. It is a vision of both connection and isolation, beauty and desolation, the perfect contrast between creation and emptiness. Philosophically, the hidden web forces us to reconsider our place in existence. Humanity has always imagined itself as separate, an observer of the cosmos rather than a participant in it. But the cosmic web tells a different story. Everything, from the smallest atom to the largest cluster of galaxies, is part of an interconnected structure. The same invisible threads that bind galaxies together also pass through us. We are woven into the universe's fabric, not floating apart from it. To understand the cosmos is to understand ourselves as expressions of the same hidden network that sustains everything. In a cinematic sequence, we zoom into a cluster of galaxies connected by thin strands of dark matter. The voice of the narrator cuts through the darkness. The universe is not scattered chaos. It is structure, elegant, invisible, divine. The music swells as light traces along the filaments like sparks racing through nerve fibers, revealing a pattern eerily reminiscent of the human brain. It is as if the cosmos itself were conscious, a living organism thinking in galaxies and stars. Some scientists have noted this uncanny resemblance. When mapped in 3 dimensions, the cosmic web looks strikingly similar to neural networks in the human brain. The ratio of connections, the density of nodes, even the way information, or energy, flows through the system mirrors the structure of thought. Could it be coincidence? Or is the universe reflecting its own awareness through patterns both microscopic and grand? It is a question that blurs the boundary between science and metaphysics. The hidden web also hints at destiny. Its gravitational pull determines where galaxies form, where stars are born, where worlds may one day cradle life. The same invisible threads that guided the birth of the Milky Way billions of years ago now continue to sculpt the cosmos. We are travelers caught in its flow, shaped by a design we cannot see. And perhaps, when we look deep into the night sky, what we are truly seeing is the reflection of a structure that connects all things, not just physically but spiritually. Yet the deeper we explore, the more mysterious the web becomes. Some regions of it seem to bend light in impossible ways, as though touched by forces beyond dark matter, perhaps dark energy or something entirely unknown. It's as if the universe's scaffolding is more than mere matter. It may be the language of existence itself, the underlying geometry of reality. As the section closes, the camera pulls back from a single galaxy, out through the filament connecting it to thousands more, until the entire universe fills the frame, a vast glowing web suspended in infinite blackness. The narrator speaks softly, reverently, "We are threads in a cosmic tapestry woven from light and shadow alike." The universe is not empty. It is connected, every star, every world, every heartbeat part of the same hidden web. The music fades into a haunting, resonant hum, the sound of the universe stretching and breathing. In that hum, one feels the quiet unity of everything, the seen and the unseen, the known and the infinite. The screen fades to black, but the image of the cosmic web lingers in the mind, shimmering like a vision that cannot be forgotten. Reality bends. Not just metaphorically but literally, under the weight of mass, energy and time. What we perceive as straight lines through the cosmos are, in truth, curves in a vast, invisible fabric. This is the secret language of the universe. Everything bends, twists, and warps according to the presence of gravity. Yet the bending of reality is not limited to space. It extends to perception, to truth, to consciousness itself. When the universe curves, so too does our understanding of it. Imagine standing on the event horizon of a black hole. Light, once steady and true, spirals downward, trapped in a whirlpool of spacetime. Time itself slows to a crawl. To the distant observer, you appear frozen in place. To you, the universe rushes toward eternity. This is not illusion. This is physics, the ultimate demonstration that space and time are not rigid but pliable. The cosmos flexes, and in its curvature lies the key to its mysteries. Einstein was the first to reveal that gravity is not a force pulling objects together, but the bending of spacetime caused by mass. Planets orbit stars not because they are tugged by invisible strings, but because they follow the curved paths carved into the cosmic fabric. In this revelation, reality became dynamic, alive. The universe was no longer a stage upon which matter played its part. It was an actor in the performance itself, constantly reshaping according to the energies within it. But this bending is not just physical. It is also psychological. Human perception, like spacetime, bends around gravity, the gravity of belief, fear, and bias. We see what our minds allow us to see. Just as light curves around massive bodies, truth curves around expectation. The parallel is poetic but profound. Both the cosmos and consciousness distort reality in pursuit of balance. Between the physics of the external and the illusions of the internal, we find a symmetry too striking to ignore. Cinematically, the scene unfolds with breathtaking elegance, stars stretching into arcs, galaxies bending light like glass, the slow-motion ripple of space itself undulating as if alive. Through gravitational lensing, astronomers can see the invisible, distant galaxies magnified and distorted by the gravity of those closer to us. This phenomenon allows us to peer billions of years into the past, using the universe as its own telescope. Yet it is also a metaphor for human knowledge. We do not see the truth directly, we see it bent through layers of perspective, refracted through our limitations. When light passes near a massive cluster of galaxies, it bends, not because the light itself changes but because the space it moves through is curved. It is an exquisite deception, one that turns the cosmos into an artist. Arcs of distant light smear across the black canvas of the sky, creating patterns of impossible symmetry. These distortions, beautiful and strange, reveal the presence of dark matter, that invisible hand shaping the curvature of everything. Even in its silence, the unseen force sculpts the visible world. But the bending of reality goes further still. At the smallest scales, the quantum level, space and time tremble with uncertainty. Particles blink in and out of being, positions and momenta refusing to be fixed. Reality itself wavers between possibility and actuality, bending under the pressure of observation. The observer becomes part of the equation, altering the outcome by the mere act of looking. In both the macrocosm and the microcosm, reality bends, not just under gravity but under awareness. Philosophers see in this a reflection of our condition. If spacetime is flexible, then so is meaning. The universe, they argue, might not have an inherent shape. It takes shape in the act of being perceived. Just as galaxies bend light, consciousness bends existence, warping it around the gravity of experience. In this way, the hidden force that shapes the cosmos might not be entirely external. It may echo within the structure of the mind, a reminder that what we call reality is as much participation as observation. The emotional tone of this revelation is haunting. The idea that reality itself bends destabilizes our sense of permanence. Mountains are not fixed, time is not constant, truth itself may not be absolute. Yet, rather than despair, there is wonder in this fluidity. It means the universe is not static or cold, it is supple, responsive, alive. Every photon that curves around a star tells a story of interaction, of relationship, of cause and effect woven through time. In one breathtaking visual, we see a beam of light travel past a massive cluster of galaxies. It bends, curves, splits into mirrored arcs, forming a halo around the darkness. The narrator's voice echoes, "Reality bends not because it is broken, but because it is whole." To see the universe clearly, we must learn to see its distortions as truth. The words linger as the camera pulls back to reveal that every curve, every warp, is part of a greater order, a harmony of movement invisible to the untrained eye. As the section closes, we realize that the bending of reality is not a flaw in the design of the cosmos. It is the design itself. From the grandest galaxy to the smallest particle, curvature is creation's signature. The way the universe reveals both its structure and its soul. The screen fades to black. A single ray of light appears, bending gently across the darkness, illuminating nothing yet everything. The voice returns, softer now, almost a whisper. When reality bends, it does not break. It becomes visible. The hum of the cosmos returns, low, endless, resonant, as if the universe itself is exhaling. Beneath the calm surface of everything we see lies a realm so strange, so turbulent, that it defies imagination. The quantum abyss is not a place. It is the hidden foundation of reality, a vast sea of uncertainty where the laws of logic dissolve and the impossible becomes routine. Here, particles appear and vanish in flickers of existence. Time itself hesitates. Space fluctuates. Energy surges from nothing, only to collapse again into silence. It is a world that mocks the boundaries between something and nothing, chaos and order. The story of the quantum abyss begins in the early 20th century, when scientists first peered into the subatomic world and discovered that certainty was an illusion. Electrons didn't move in neat orbits like planets around a sun. They flickered in probability clouds, existing everywhere and nowhere until observed. Light, the very fabric of visibility, revealed itself to be both particle and wave. The deeper we looked, the less sense it made. Reality, it seemed, was woven from contradiction. In this strange new landscape, cause and effect began to blur. A particle could exist in two places at once, spin in opposite directions simultaneously, or interact instantaneously across distances vast enough to break the rules of relativity. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance. Others saw something more profound, a glimpse into the unity of the cosmos, where separation is an illusion. The quantum abyss is not chaos, it is a deeper order, one that hides its coherence beneath a mask of randomness. The vacuum, once thought empty, is now known to be a boiling cauldron of energy. Virtual particles erupt and vanish in trillionths of a second, filling the void with invisible activity. If we could magnify a single cubic centimeter of space, we would see storms of energy flaring and fading faster than thought. This invisible turmoil gives rise to everything, from the shape of atoms to the birth of galaxies. Matter is not solid, it is condensed vibration, a momentary pause in the infinite trembling of the void. Imagine drifting downward into that abyss. Colors fade, sound disappears, and the rules of the familiar world begin to unravel. Up and down, near and far, before and after, these concepts lose meaning. Instead, everything is probability, potential, motion. The universe here is not a thing but a process, a dance of becoming. Every atom in your body, every photon in your vision, is part of this ceaseless creation. Existence is not fixed, it is constantly reassembled, moment by moment, by the silent rhythms of the quantum realm. For scientists, this realization is both exhilarating and terrifying. It means that beneath all order lies uncertainty, and yet that uncertainty gives rise to stability. The chair you sit on, the star above your head, the breath in your lungs, all are the result of the quantum vacuum's restless motion. The solid world is an illusion, a pattern maintained by probabilities too vast to compute. And within those probabilities, the possibility of new forces hides. Forces that might explain the 95% of the universe we cannot see. Some physicists suspect that the mysterious dark energy driving cosmic expansion originates from this quantum abyss, from fluctuations in the vacuum that, on a cosmic scale, act like a repulsive pressure. Others propose that what we call gravity is simply the result of quantum entanglement, threads of connection weaving space together from the bottom up. In this view, the universe is not built on particles but on information, a vast network of relationships, like a cosmic consciousness pulsing beneath matter. The philosophy of the quantum abyss extends far beyond physics. It challenges our very notion of reality. If matter is not solid, if existence depends on observation, then the act of perceiving becomes part of creation itself. Consciousness and cosmos are intertwined, each defining the other in an endless loop. To observe is to participate, to exist is to collapse possibilities into being. The universe, then, might not simply exist, it might be dreaming itself into existence one quantum fluctuation at a time. Cinematically, the scene unfolds like a descent into a cosmic ocean. The camera dives past atoms, past electrons, past quarks, into a realm where light dissolves into patterns of vibration. Waves of probability ripple across an invisible field. Tiny bursts of light flash and vanish, like fireflies in a boundless night. The narrator's voice emerges from the darkness. Beneath every atom lies infinity. Beneath every silence, a storm. The universe is not still, it is trembling. The deeper the descent, the more profound the beauty. The quantum abyss is not empty chaos, it is potential incarnate. Every possibility that could ever exist waits there, suspended in uncertainty. The universe chooses its path moment by moment, collapsing waves into worlds, probabilities into stories, silence into sound. The hidden force that shapes reality may not be separate from this process. It may be this process, the eternal vibration between being and nothingness. As the sequence reaches its climax, the camera pulls back. The abyss transforms into a glowing tapestry, its quantum storms forming patterns that mirror galaxies, stars, and finally, the human mind itself. The narrator whispers, "What we call reality is but the crest of an unseen wave. Beneath it lies the true cosmos, infinite, invisible, alive." The music fades into a soft hum, the same frequency that began the universe itself. The abyss remains, dark, shimmering, full of possibility. The audience is left suspended in wonder, aware that beneath every moment of stillness, the universe is roaring in silence. For every revelation the universe grants us, it gives birth to a new conflict. A war not of armies but of ideas. In the quiet halls of observatories and the buzzing corridors of research centers, brilliant minds battle not for power but for truth. Equations clash like swords. Theories rise and fall like empires. And in the center of it all lies the question that divides them. What is the true nature of reality? The war of theories has raged for more than a century, and its outcome will decide how humanity understands existence itself. It began with a fracture, the split between Einstein's general relativity and quantum mechanics. Both are masterpieces, pillars of modern physics, and both cannot be entirely right at the same time. Relativity rules the grand scale, planets, stars, galaxies, and the expansion of space. Quantum mechanics rules the small, atoms, particles, and the flickering foam of the void. Each theory works flawlessly in its domain, but when they meet, they collapse. Gravity refuses to be quantized. Quantum laws refuse to bend to cosmic geometry. Somewhere between the infinite and the infinitesimal, the laws of nature contradict themselves. Physicists have spent generations trying to reconcile these two kingdoms. Some turn to string theory, a breathtaking vision in which every particle is not a point but a vibrating string, a musical note in the symphony of the cosmos. According to this theory, All forces and matter are harmonics of the same fundamental vibration, rippling through dimensions beyond human perception. 10 dimensions, maybe 11. Whole universes curled within microscopic loops of energy. It is an idea so elegant it feels divine, a theory that promises unity, order, and beauty. But string theory, for all its elegance, carries a heavy shadow, no experimental proof. The strings it describes are far too small to detect. The theory predicts a multiverse of infinite possibilities, yet none that we can observe. Critics call it philosophy disguised as physics, a cathedral built on speculation. And so the battle rages on. Across the field stands quantum field theory, the mathematical engine of the Standard Model, which explains 3 of the 4 known forces with extraordinary precision. It has predicted particles, matched observations, and given birth to the technology that defines modern life. But it too fails where gravity reigns. The quantum vacuum it describes predicts infinite energy densities, absurd results that the universe itself rejects. Between these 2 great frameworks, relativity's smooth continuum and quantum theory's jittering chaos, lies the abyss. Other armies of thought have joined the fight. Advocates of loop quantum gravity claim spacetime is not continuous but woven from discrete loops, like the threads of a cosmic fabric. Modified gravity theorists argue that perhaps dark matter and dark energy do not exist at all, that we have simply misunderstood gravity's true behavior. Still others explore emergent spacetime, the radical idea that space and time themselves are not fundamental, but arise from deeper quantum entanglements. Each of these theories carries promise and each demands sacrifice, of assumptions, of simplicity, of certainty. In the cinematic imagination, the war of theories plays out like an epic confrontation. Relativity, regal and serene, commands the grand cosmos with equations that curve and flow like poetry. Quantum mechanics, wild and unpredictable, counters with flashes of probability and chaos. Between them stands humanity, small, fragile, but endlessly determined to understand both. The battlefield is not filled with noise but with silence, the silence of thinking minds wrestling with infinity. At times the conflict feels personal. Generations of physicists devote their lives to frameworks that may one day be proven wrong. Careers rise and fall with every experiment, every failed prediction. Pride and persistence mix with humility and wonder. To search for a unified theory is not just to solve a puzzle. It is to confront the deepest paradox of existence, that truth may be multiple, fluid, or forever incomplete. Philosophers watch from the edges of the battlefield, asking a quieter question. What if the contradiction itself is the truth? What if the universe is not meant to fit into a single equation, but thrives on duality, order and chaos, wave and particle, continuity and discreteness? Perhaps reality is not a single melody, but a harmony of conflicting notes, each essential to the whole. Still, the war continues because humans cannot resist the call of unity. It is in our nature to seek the theory of everything, the one equation that binds all phenomena into one elegant design. We have come close before. Newton unified earth and heaven under gravity, Maxwell united electricity and magnetism, Einstein united space and time. Each victory brings us closer to a universal language, and yet, each also exposes deeper mysteries. The closer we approach truth, the more complex it becomes, as though the universe hides its heart behind infinite layers. As the music swells, the camera pans through a montage of chalkboards covered in dense equations, particle accelerators blazing with light, scientists staring into data streams like prophets deciphering divine code. The narrator's voice cuts through. The universe is not at war with us. The war is within us, between the simplicity we crave and the complexity that is. And then for a moment, silence. The camera drifts through the vastness of space, where galaxies twist like whirlpools of fire. The cosmic web glows faintly against the black. In that silence, we realize the truth. All these theories, all these battles, are human attempts to name the same unseen force, the hidden unity that binds reality together. The final lines echo like a prayer. Perhaps the ultimate theory will not be an equation, but an understanding, that every contradiction is a reflection of balance, every argument a form of harmony. The universe does not choose sides. It contains them all. The screen fades to darkness and for an instant the viewer feels it, that impossible stillness between two truths, that quiet point where the war ends and understanding begins. Across centuries, beyond laboratories and equations, there has always been another kind of seeker, not the scientist with a telescope or a collider, but the philosopher with a question that refuses to die. The philosopher's warning is not written in numbers, it is whispered in doubt. It reminds us that in our feverish pursuit of understanding the universe, we may forget to ask why we seek it at all. Every age of discovery has been shadowed by this warning. Knowledge without reflection becomes illusion, progress without wisdom becomes peril. Long before the first particle was smashed or the first star was mapped, philosophers gazed into the unknown with nothing but thought as their instrument. Plato imagined that our reality was a cave, and that humanity mistook shadows for truth. Aristotle searched for the unmoved mover, the hidden cause behind all causes. Centuries later, Descartes questioned whether anything could be known at all. And Kant, standing between science and metaphysics, argued that our minds might never access the thing in itself, the true nature of reality beyond perception. The warning was always there, echoing through time. What if the universe is not hiding its force from us? What if it is simply beyond the reach of human understanding? As science grew stronger, philosophy grew quieter. Telescopes replaced metaphors, equations replaced meditations. Yet the questions philosophy asked did not die, they merely transformed. Every discovery, every new layer of knowledge, brought us closer not to certainty, but to deeper paradoxes. When we discovered dark matter and dark energy, we learned that most of the universe is invisible. When we explored quantum physics, we found that observation itself alters reality. And when we looked deeper into consciousness, we realized we don't even fully understand the instrument through which we perceive. The philosopher's warning then is not a rejection of science. It is a plea for humility. To know more is not always to understand more. The more we illuminate, the more shadows we cast. The universe may not be a puzzle to solve, but a mirror reflecting our own limitations. Perhaps what we call the hidden force is the boundary itself, the veil between what is knowable and what is forever beyond. In one haunting image, imagine a scholar in a dimly lit room, surrounded by old books, candlelight flickering across pages filled with diagrams of stars and symbols of thought. The voice of the narrator drifts like a slow echo. We have measured the distance to galaxies but not the distance to wisdom. The flame trembles, fragile, defiant, as if it knows that the light of reason, no matter how bright, cannot banish all mystery. Throughout history, moments of great discovery have been followed by moments of existential dread. When Copernicus dethroned the Earth, humanity felt both enlightened and diminished. When Darwin unveiled evolution, we gained a story of life but lost the illusion of special creation. And now, as cosmology and quantum theory stretch the limits of imagination, we stand again at the edge of awe and anxiety. What does it mean to live in a universe that is mostly unseen, perhaps unknowable? What does it mean to be conscious of forces that shape us but cannot be touched, tested, or tamed? Some philosophers argue that the universe's hidden nature is not an obstacle, but its essence. Mystery is not a flaw, it is the universe's most perfect expression. To exist in mystery is to exist in meaning. Others warn that as we peer further into the unknown, we risk losing ourselves in abstraction, mistaking mathematical models for reality, mistaking knowledge for truth. In this sense, the hidden force is not merely cosmic, it is psychological. It is the unseen power that drives us to question, to doubt, to seek even when the answers may dissolve us. There is also an ethical dimension to the warning. Every discovery carries responsibility. The same understanding of energy that powers cities also forged weapons of unimaginable destruction. The same algorithms that reveal galaxies can manipulate minds. To seek knowledge is sacred, but without reflection, it becomes dangerous. The philosopher whispers, before you ask what the universe is made of, ask what you are made for. Cinematically, the tone of this section shifts, quiet, contemplative, almost sacred. The camera drifts through the ruins of ancient temples, the halls of universities, and the dark vacuum of space, as if suggesting they are all connected, sanctuaries of inquiry built on the same yearning. Over this imagery, the narrator continues, every age builds its tower of understanding, reaching higher toward the sky. But the higher we climb, the stronger the wind of uncertainty becomes. The philosopher's warning is not to stop climbing, but to remember that the sky has no end. At the climax, the music swells into a chorus of voices, human, fragile, eternal. Their words blur into a single question. If the universe is infinite, can meaning ever be found in its measure? The question is not answered. It does not need to be. The silence that follows is the answer, the same silence that has echoed since the first human looked up at the stars. The section ends as it began, in stillness. The candle from the opening scene burns low, its flame a faint heartbeat against the dark. The narrator's final words fall like a whisper into that silence. The philosopher does not deny the universe. He listens to it. And sometimes in that listening he hears not truth but wisdom. The flame flickers once more then fades. The darkness that remains is not emptiness but depth, a reminder that some forces like meaning itself can only be felt in the absence of light. The mind is the final frontier, not a landscape of stars and galaxies, but an inner cosmos where thought and perception bend like spacetime itself. In the quest to uncover the universe's hidden force, scientists have turned their gaze outward for centuries. But now many are beginning to look inward, to the one realm that has remained as mysterious as the cosmos: consciousness. What if the force the universe hides is not out there among the galaxies, but within us, an unseen field of awareness connecting mind and matter, thought and energy, being and becoming? For centuries the human brain was treated as a machine, neurons firing, chemicals flowing, circuits forming memories and sensations. But as our understanding deepens, that simple picture begins to dissolve. Consciousness refuses to fit into equations. It cannot be weighed, measured, or located. It flickers like a hologram, everywhere and nowhere at once. And the more we study it, the more it resembles the universe itself, vast, dynamic, and profoundly mysterious. Some physicists standing on the border between science and philosophy have begun to ask a dangerous question. Could consciousness and the cosmos be two sides of the same reality? The idea is not new. Ancient traditions spoke of a world where mind and matter were inseparable, where reality itself was a manifestation of awareness. But now, quantum physics seems to whisper similar truths. Particles exist as probabilities until observed. The act of measurement collapses the wave, it decides what becomes real. Observation in this sense is not passive. It is creative. The observer is not outside the universe but woven into its fabric. If the observer shapes the observed, then consciousness might be the missing link, the hidden variable in the equation of existence. Perhaps the universe does not merely contain awareness. Perhaps it is awareness, experiencing itself through infinite forms. Every galaxy, every cell, every human thought could be a spark of that same universal mind, fragmented and reflected through space and time. In this vision, the hidden force is not a particle or field, it is participation. Existence is not something happening to us, it is something happening through us. Imagine a slow pan across the neural landscape of the human brain, billions of neurons glowing like galaxies, electrical impulses pulsing through a dark biological cosmos. The camera zooms out, and suddenly those neurons dissolve into real galaxies, the two structures mirroring one another, indistinguishable in form. The narrator's voice emerges: the universe thinks, not as a being but as being itself. And we, for a moment, are its thoughts. Modern neuroscience struggles to explain how subjective experience arises from physical matter. How does the brain, a lump of carbon and water, give rise to the colors we see, the emotions we feel, the dreams we live? This question, known as the hard problem of consciousness, remains one of the greatest mysteries of science. No equation can describe what it feels like to be alive, to see a sunset, to love, to wonder. Yet, these experiences are as real as gravity or time. The philosopher's warning returns here in another form. Perhaps the hidden force of the universe is not something to be measured, but something to be felt. In quantum theory, some interpretations suggest that consciousness collapses probabilities into reality, that awareness is the agent that chooses which version of the universe manifests. Others reject this idea, arguing that consciousness is an emergent phenomenon, a byproduct of complexity rather than a cosmic cause. But even in that view, the parallels remain haunting. The human mind, like the universe, thrives in dualities, order and chaos, known and unknown, seen and unseen. The line between physics and psychology begins to blur. There are also whispers from the frontier of cosmology suggesting that the universe itself may possess a kind of proto-consciousness. Not sentience in a human sense, but an intrinsic awareness, a fundamental property of reality just as gravity and electromagnetism are. This concept, known as panpsychism, proposes that consciousness is not created by matter but distributed throughout it. Every atom, every photon contains a flicker of awareness. And when enough of those flickers align, as they do in the human brain, consciousness blooms. If this is true, then perhaps the universe hides its force not because it is alien, but because it is intimate. It is the awareness behind awareness, the silence behind thought, the stillness that holds motion together. We have been searching for it in the stars, but it has been watching through our eyes all along. Philosophically, this realization is both humbling and liberating. It dissolves the old dualities, subject and object, observer and observed, spirit and matter. It suggests that existence is not a collection of things, but a continuous act of self-knowing, a reflection folded upon itself. To touch the hidden force may not mean reaching outward into the dark, but inward into the quiet, where the cosmos listens through consciousness itself. Cinematically, the scene slows into meditative silence. The camera moves between neurons firing in slow motion and galaxies rotating in time-lapse, their shapes echoing one another. The music swells, a fusion of heartbeat and cosmic vibration. The narrator's voice, calm and reverent, speaks, "Perhaps the mind is not in the universe, perhaps the universe is in the mind. What we call thought may be the cosmos remembering itself." The final image fades to a single human eye reflecting a spiral galaxy. The pupil contracts, and in its dark center, stars shimmer faintly, consciousness gazing into its own reflection. The voice returns once more, a whisper carried through the void. "The force the universe hides may not be distant. It may be the one that looks back when we look up." Silence follows, vast, eternal, alive. Every era of discovery eventually arrives at the same border, a line between what can be known and what forever eludes comprehension. This boundary, invisible yet undeniable, is called the edge of knowledge. It is not a physical place but a state of mind, a threshold where curiosity meets humility. Beyond it lies the uncharted, the undefined, the vast darkness that both terrifies and inspires us. Humanity has reached this edge countless times before, with each revolution in science, each shattered belief, each revelation that forced us to see the cosmos anew. But never has the edge felt so near, so absolute as it does now. Imagine a vast ocean stretching to the horizon. The portion we've explored glitters under sunlight, the islands of knowledge we've mapped and named. But beyond the visible edge, the sea deepens into blackness. Every discovery, every experiment, every theory expands the shoreline of what we know, and with it expands the frontier of our ignorance. This is the paradox of progress. The more we learn, the more we realize how little we truly understand. In the grand halls of science there is excitement and quiet unease. For centuries the universe seemed to reward our persistence. Newton gave us order, Einstein gave us curvature, quantum theory gave us probability. But now, the deeper we probe, the more elusive reality becomes. The numbers still work, the data still fits, mostly, but behind the equations something begins to shimmer, faint and mocking. We can model the universe but not explain its essence. We can describe its mechanics but not its motive. This is where humanity finds itself today, on the razor's edge between comprehension and mystery. We have mapped the observable universe, traced its origins back to the first second after the Big Bang, even glimpsed gravitational waves rippling through spacetime. And yet, 95% of everything remains unseen. Dark matter and dark energy govern the cosmos, but we cannot define them. We can measure their effects but not their nature. We can sense their presence but not their purpose. They remain, stubbornly, beautifully, invisible. For scientists, this is both triumph and torment. The instruments they've built, particle colliders, space telescopes, quantum detectors, are the finest ever created by human hands. They reach to the edge of the possible, listening to the universe's faintest whispers. But the data that returns often raises more questions than it answers. Anomalies appear and vanish. Constants fluctuate. The universe behaves like a riddle that changes its language just as we begin to translate it. In one laboratory, deep beneath the Alps, a physicist stares at a monitor displaying empty readings where something should be. In another, an astronomer looks at light from a distant galaxy and sees it warped in a way no current model can explain. Across the globe, data streams into supercomputers, each bit of information a fragment of an unfinished mosaic. The scientists know they are close, painfully close, to something extraordinary. Yet, the final piece remains out of reach, as if the universe is guarding it. Emotionally, this moment in history feels like standing at a precipice. Behind us lies centuries of triumph, proof that reason, curiosity, and courage can decode the cosmos. Before us lies a darkness that refuses to yield. The edge of knowledge is not an ending. It is a mirror reflecting our limitations. Every unanswered question reveals the fragility of human understanding and the resilience of the human spirit. The philosophers whisper, perhaps the universe's secrets are not withheld from us out of cruelty, but compassion. Perhaps knowledge itself must unfold slowly, in rhythms that preserve meaning. If we understood everything, would wonder still exist? If we saw the full blueprint of reality, would it still inspire awe? The edge is not a wall, it is an invitation, a challenge that keeps the flame of curiosity alive. Cinematically, the sequence unfolds in slow, rhythmic images. The first spark of fire in a prehistoric cave, the turning gears of Galileo's telescope, the the swirl of Einstein's handwritten notes, the hum of a supercomputer. Each image represents humanity pushing further into the unknown. The narrator's voice carries through, calm yet filled with reverence. Every time we reach the edge, we believe it is the end. And every time the universe whispers, not yet. There is also tragedy at this edge. For every breakthrough, there are hundreds of failures. Countless dreams dissolve into uncertainty. Brilliant minds age chasing answers that never come. But even in defeat, there is nobility. To stand at the edge of knowledge is to stand in defiance of the infinite, to acknowledge the unknown and still reach toward it. It is both science and prayer. The great paradox is that our limitations are also our strength. The fact that we cannot know everything ensures that curiosity never dies. The unknown keeps us human, keeps us moving. In every unanswered question lies the next revolution, the next idea, the next awakening. The hidden force that the universe guards may not be a particle or a field. It may be the very act of not knowing, the silence that gives rise to thought. As the music swells, the camera pulls back. From the eye of a scientist to the curve of Earth, from Earth to the Milky Way, from the Milky Way to the entire observable universe. The galaxies shimmer like neurons in a cosmic brain, and then fade into darkness. The narrator's final words echo. At the edge of knowledge we find not the end of truth, but the beginning of wonder. The universe is not a puzzle to be solved, it is a conversation to be continued. The screen fades to black, leaving only a faint shimmer of light, the symbol of the unending quest. It flickers once, like a heartbeat, and then disappears into silence. There are moments in history when the universe seems to speak, not in words or sounds but in signs, in rhythms, in patterns that echo across space and time. We hear its voice in the trembling of atoms, in the faint radiation left from the Big Bang, in the gravitational waves rippling through spacetime like the echo of creation itself. These are not random phenomena, they are messages written in the ancient language of energy and matter. To listen to them is to stand in communion with the cosmos, to realize that we are not merely in the universe but part of its expression. When the universe speaks, it does so in whispers. The first whisper came as light, photons stretching across billions of years to meet our eyes. That light told us of birth and death, of distant stars living and dying in cosmic silence. The second whisper came as motion, galaxies racing apart faster than gravity could explain, hinting at an invisible force pushing them away. The third whisper came as vibration, a hum, faint and eternal, the leftover resonance of the Big Bang. It is called the cosmic microwave background, and it fills the universe equally, a ghostly echo of its first breath. It is, quite literally, the sound of creation lingering in time. In the 21st century we learn to listen in a new way. On September 14, 2015, two observatories, one in Louisiana, the other in Washington, detected something that had never been heard before. The faint tremor of spacetime itself. Two black holes, billions of light-years away, had collided, sending ripples through existence. When those ripples reached Earth, they shifted our instruments by less than a fraction of a proton's width. And yet, in that minuscule vibration, humanity heard the voice of the universe. Einstein had predicted it a century earlier, but even he could not have imagined the awe of that moment. The cosmos had spoken, and for the first time we had listened. It is easy to think of the universe as silent, as a cold expanse ruled by indifference. But the more we listen, the more we find that silence is full of meaning. Pulsars, rotating neutron stars, beat with the precision of cosmic metronomes, sending out radio waves that mark time across galaxies. Quasars flare with the energy of a trillion suns, flashing like cosmic lighthouses. Even the quiet between stars is not truly empty. It hums with microwave radiation, magnetic currents, and quantum fluctuations. The universe, it turns out, never stops talking. Only our perception does. Cinematically, the scene unfolds as a journey through sound made visible. We begin in utter darkness, then a low hum rises, not a musical note, but a vibration that can be felt more than heard. Light begins to pulse in sync with it, first faint, then radiant, until the entire frame glows with cosmic energy. The narrator's voice cuts through softly. The universe does not shout. It sings. The beauty of these cosmic messages is that they blur the boundary between science and spirituality. A gravitational wave is an equation written in motion, yet when we hear it, it feels like revelation. The universe speaks in frequencies that resonate not just with instruments, but with intuition. It is as if reality itself were conscious, aware, alive, poetic. Every discovery feels less like invention and more like remembrance, as if we are recalling something the cosmos has always known. And perhaps that is the truth. When we decode the light from a distant star, we are not uncovering something foreign, we are reconnecting with our origin. The calcium in our bones, the iron in our blood, the carbon in our cells all came from those same stars. We are not observers of the universe's voice, we are its echo. To listen to the cosmos is to listen to ourselves. Philosophically, this realization transforms science into something sacred. The cosmos is not speaking to us, it is speaking through us. Our instruments, our equations, our questions are extensions of its own unfolding. When the universe expands, so does our awareness. When a new signal reaches us from across time, it awakens something ancient within, a recognition that we, too, are part of that ongoing dialogue. The emotional resonance of this truth is immense. To know that the universe is not silent, but alive with information, connection, and meaning, gives new weight to existence itself. Every hum of an atom, every flicker of light, every wave that ripples through space becomes part of a cosmic symphony, one that has been playing since the beginning of time. And though we have only just begun to hear it, we sense that it has always been calling us, waiting for the moment we learned how to listen. In one breathtaking visual, the camera drifts through space, passing through regions of glowing gas and pulsing light. Each pulse leaves behind a ripple, forming a pattern that begins to resemble sound waves. The narrator continues, every vibration, every movement, every breath of the cosmos carries meaning. The stars are not silent. They speak the language of being. And then, the frame shifts, from the vastness of galaxies to the quiet of a single human heartbeat. The rhythm matches the same pattern, the same frequency as the waves seen in space. The message becomes clear. The universe is not separate from life. Life is the universe remembering itself in form. The hidden force we seek might not be a physical energy, but the act of communication itself, the flow of information, vibration, and awareness that keeps existence coherent. The music swells to a crescendo, deep and resonant, like the hum of spacetime itself. The final lines arrive as a whisper. When the universe speaks, it does not ask for understanding, only for attention. To listen is to belong. The screen fades to darkness, but the sound remains, a low, steady pulse that feels like both the heartbeat of a human and the heartbeat of the cosmos. The audience is left suspended between wonder and silence, realizing that the message was never hidden. It was always there, waiting for us to hear. The moment of revelation does not arrive like thunder. It begins quietly, a deep stillness spreading through the narrative of existence, as if the universe itself pauses to draw a breath. After centuries of searching, questioning, and doubting, humanity finally begins to glimpse the outline of the hidden force. It is not a discovery of new matter or energy, not a single equation written on a chalkboard, but a realization that feels older than time. The universe's greatest secret is not separate from us, it includes us. The force the universe has been hiding is both physical and philosophical, scientific and spiritual, a bridge between the seen and the unseen. We have called it many names. Dark energy, quantum vacuum, entanglement, consciousness. But these may all be different expressions of the same underlying truth, that existence itself is relational. Everything affects everything else. Every atom vibrates in harmony with every star. Every choice, every thought, every heartbeat is a ripple that travels outward, touching galaxies we will never see. The force is not one thing, it is connection. It is the invisible thread weaving reality into coherence, the unspoken logic that allows chaos to become cosmos. Cinematically, the scene unfolds with breathtaking scale. Galaxies spin in slow motion, their arms stretching like luminous spirals of thought. Nebulae blossom like living dreams, and the cosmic web glows faintly, its filaments pulsing like nerves in a universal brain. The narrator's voice cuts through the silence, calm but reverent. We searched for the force outside and found it within. We measured its shadow in the stars, and discovered its reflection in ourselves. The revelation is not an answer but a perspective, a unification of all previous dualities. Science meets philosophy, reason meets wonder, and matter meets meaning. The hidden force reveals itself not as domination, but as balance. The perfect symmetry between expansion and gravity, between chaos and order, between life and death. It is not the enemy of entropy but its counterpart. Without collapse there can be no creation. Without mystery there can be no knowledge. The universe hides its force to remind us that revelation must be earned through curiosity, humility, and awe. At the deepest level, this force is not a phenomenon, it is a principle. It is relationship itself, the dynamic of being and becoming that animates all things. Every particle is aware of every other, every motion has consequence, every fluctuation carries information. Physicists describe this through quantum entanglement, a phenomenon where particles remain connected even when separated by billions of light-years. But philosophers have always intuited the same idea in another language, that all is one. The mystics called it spirit, the poets called it love, the scientists call it unification. The names differ but the essence is the same, connection beyond visibility. Imagine a montage of human progress: fire, wheel, telescope, circuit. Each invention a step toward illumination, each discovery a mirror turned inward. The narrator continues, "We have looked into the atom and seen galaxies. We have looked into galaxies and seen ourselves. The force that binds the stars is the same that binds our hearts, a will to connect, to know, to exist together." The orchestral score swells, strings trembling with emotion, as if echoing the heartbeat of the cosmos itself. Philosophically, this realization dissolves boundaries. There is no longer a distinction between observer and observed, between matter and mind. The universe is not a stage on which life happens. Life is the universe awakening to itself. To understand the hidden force is to understand that awareness, energy, and existence are one continuous motion, endlessly folding and unfolding. We are not outside of it, we are expressions of it. The cosmos does not hide its truth to deceive us. It hides it within us, waiting for the moment when we are ready to see. Yet even in this revelation, humility remains. The universe still guards most of its mysteries, not out of cruelty but out of necessity. Total knowledge would end wonder, complete control would destroy meaning. The hidden force must remain partly veiled so that curiosity endures, so that we continue to reach. Every revelation leads to a deeper question, every understanding to a grander mystery. That is the eternal rhythm of existence, concealment and discovery, silence and song. The scene shifts from the infinite to the intimate, from galaxies to a single drop of water, from a supernova to a human eye. Within both, the same patterns appear: spirals, vibrations, fractals of order arising from chaos. The narrator's voice softens. The same geometry that sculpts galaxies shapes the heartbeat of life. The same equations that guide the stars guide your breath. The force you seek has never been lost, only forgotten. As the music crescendos, light floods the screen, a supernova bursting into color, waves of energy rippling outward like the pulse of creation. It is not destruction, it is renewal. The death of one star becomes the birth of countless others. The hidden force reveals itself through this endless cycle: creation, decay, rebirth. Life and death, matter and void, consciousness and silence, all part of the same eternal motion. Emotionally, the moment is transcendent. It is not triumph but understanding. The search ends not in victory but in belonging. Humanity realizes that it was never separate from the cosmic story. It is the story unfolding in human form. The narrator's closing words arrive like a benediction. The force the universe hides is not buried in space or time. It flows through every atom, every breath, every thought. It is not beyond us. It is us. The final image fades to black, but the sound of the universe remains, a soft, low hum that could be wind or heartbeat, or the vibration of spacetime itself. It lingers just long enough for the viewer to feel it within their own chest, an echo, faint yet unmistakable, of the hidden force finally revealed. The universe has spoken, its secrets partially unveiled, and yet, as the light of revelation begins to fade, a new silence settles in. It is the silence of reflection, the stillness that follows awe. Humanity, having traveled through centuries of curiosity and discovery, now stands at the edge of comprehension, staring not into the stars but into itself. The journey that began with wonder now returns to the question that started it all. What does it mean to know? The cosmos may have revealed glimpses of its hidden force, but the final truth remains elusive, shimmering just beyond reach. And perhaps that is as it should be. The final question is not about answers. It is about meaning, the thread that connects knowledge to existence, discovery to purpose. We have mapped galaxies, split atoms, and measured the faint whispers of creation, yet in the face of infinity, our greatest achievement may be humility. The more we uncover, the more we realize that the universe's hidden force is not a mystery to be solved, but a mirror, reflecting the limits of our perception and the depths of our longing. Cinematically, this section opens in silence. A vast expanse of stars drifts slowly across the screen. The camera glides past dying suns, through nebulae glowing like embers of memory, and toward a small blue world, Earth, suspended in the dark. The narrator's voice enters, calm and contemplative. For every question we have answered, another has risen. We have listened to the voice of the cosmos and found it echoing within us. What, then, remains to be discovered? This question, simple yet infinite, is the essence of humanity's condition. We are creatures caught between knowledge and mystery, intelligent enough to ask but not wise enough to know. The universe's hidden force has shown us that everything is connected, that matter and mind are reflections of the same cosmic pulse. But it has also shown us that understanding is not ownership. The universe is not a problem to be solved. It is a relationship to be experienced. To know the cosmos is to participate in it, to be both question and answer, seeker and sought. Philosophers once warned that ultimate knowledge might dissolve meaning, that if we ever saw the full pattern of creation, we might lose the wonder that drives us. And so, the universe protects its secret, revealing just enough to sustain our search. The hidden force does not grant completion, it grants continuity. Its purpose is not to be found but to be followed, an eternal pursuit that transforms those who chase it. In this light, humanity's greatest gift is not intellect but curiosity, the spark that compels us to reach beyond the known. Every generation inherits both the answers and the questions of those before it. The edge of knowledge shifts but never disappears. We are the universe exploring itself, through our instruments, our stories, our art, our dreams. The final question then is not what is the universe hiding, but why do we seek? Imagine the camera moving through history, the first human carving symbols into stone, the astronomer raising a telescope to the night sky, the physicist watching a detector's faint signal flicker. Each gesture is the same, an act of faith in the unknown. The narrator's voice softens. To question is to exist. To seek is to live. To wonder is to be alive in the presence of the infinite. At this point, the tone turns introspective. The universe's hidden force is no longer presented as a distant mystery but as something deeply intimate. The atoms that make us were forged in stars. The consciousness that wonders about the universe is part of the same continuum that gave rise to it. Every heartbeat, every breath, every moment of awareness is an echo of the same creative principle that spins galaxies and births worlds. The force was never external, it was always within. Yet even as this realization brings peace, it also brings unease. What happens when the search ends? What becomes of humanity when the mysteries run out? The narrator poses this question not with despair but with tenderness. Perhaps the purpose of the hidden force was never to be found, perhaps it was to make us seekers. To ensure that, even in knowing, we continue to wonder. The camera lingers on Earth, oceans shimmering, clouds drifting, then pulls back until the planet becomes a single blue dot barely visible against the black. Over this image, Carl Sagan's old truth seems to echo, we are a way for the cosmos to know itself. And yet, that knowing is never complete. The cosmos does not end in comprehension, it ends in reverence. The emotional crescendo rises here, not through revelation but through surrender. The narrator continues, the universe hides its force so that we will never stop listening. It keeps its final truth behind silence so that we may never lose our voice. And perhaps, in that silence lies the greatest answer of all, that existence itself is enough. In the closing montage, the music swells, a symphony of strings and deep, resonant choirs. The images shift between the infinite and the intimate, galaxies blooming like thoughts, waves crashing against shorelines, a child looking up at the stars. The human eye once again mirrors the spiral of a galaxy, both searching, both alive. The narration fades into a whisper. What if the hidden force we seek is not out there at all? What if it is the very act of seeking, the endless yearning to know, to feel, to connect? The voice grows softer still, almost imperceptible. Perhaps the final question is not what the universe hides, but why we were made to look for it. The final image is pure silence. The stars fade, leaving only darkness, yet it is not empty. It is full, vast, vibrating with unseen life. A heartbeat echoes faintly in the distance. One pulse, then another, until it blends into the hum of the cosmos. And then in that silence, the voice returns one last time, a whisper carried through eternity, the force the universe hides, was never hidden at all. The credits of existence begin to roll in silence. The story seems complete, the mysteries explored, the force revealed, the questions asked and echoed into eternity. But then, as the stillness deepens, something stirs once more. A final breath from the cosmos, a pulse beneath the silence. Section 20 is not an ending, it is an afterglow, the coda of the universe where realization transforms into reflection. It is the moment when humanity, standing in awe of all it has discovered, finally understands that every answer is merely the beginning of a deeper song. The universe does not conclude with revelation. It evolves. It continues to unfold, to dream itself forward. We may have seen its invisible architecture, touched the edges of its quantum soul, and felt the hum of its consciousness, yet the mystery remains infinite. Like a circle, the journey of knowing has no end. To reach the final horizon is to find another waiting beyond it, luminous and silent. The universe's hidden force, once imagined as distant and impersonal, now reveals itself as something both transcendent and intimate. The will to exist, the pulse of becoming, the infinite rhythm of creation and dissolution. Cinematically, this moment unfolds in serenity. The camera drifts through the vast dark, passing stars that flare and fade like memories. Nebulae bloom and dissolve into shadow. The cosmic web stretches endlessly, glowing with the faint pulse of unseen energy. The narrator's voice, calm and reflective, returns. We searched for the source of power that moves the stars, and found it within our own hearts. We looked for meaning beyond the horizon, only to discover that we were the horizon all along. The imagery shifts from the grand to the human, a child's hand reaching toward the night sky, the tide rolling across sand, a spark from a fire drifting upward into darkness. These quiet moments mirror the vast ones, reminding us that the laws governing galaxies also govern gestures, thoughts, and dreams. The hidden force is not confined to the heavens. It is present in the simplest act of wonder. It is in every beginning and every ending, the heartbeat of the cosmos expressing itself through life. This final section is an embrace between opposites. It reunites science and spirit, knowledge and mystery, reason and emotion. The narrative turns inward, asking not what the universe is but what it means. After all the equations and experiments, what remains is not data but devotion, not measurement but meaning. The hidden force we now see is not a particle or field, but the unity that makes meaning possible. It is gravity not of mass but of purpose, the invisible pull that draws consciousness toward understanding. As humanity stands on the precipice of greater discovery, quantum technologies, interstellar exploration, artificial intelligence, we find ourselves in an age that mirrors the dawn of creation. The tools we build are reflections of the universe's own logic. Every circuit, every algorithm, every telescope is a continuation of the cosmic impulse to know itself. The hidden force drives evolution not just of matter but of mind. It is the will to expand, to experience, to become. Philosophically, this realization carries both hope and caution. For if we are the universe knowing itself, then our actions shape that knowing. Every choice ripples through the web of being. To harm is to distort that harmony, to create is to echo the act of creation itself. The hidden force is not indifferent, it responds through consequence. It rewards awareness with beauty, humility with understanding. The narrator reflects softly, we are not apart from the universe's story. We are its sentence, each of us a word in its unfolding poem. Emotionally, the section swells into a tone of sacred acceptance. The search, the struggle, the longing, all of it was necessary. Every error, every unanswered question, every leap of imagination was part of the force expressing itself through the human spirit. We were never lost. We were discovering the pathways by which the cosmos dreams through us. As the score builds, strings rising like breath, low percussion pulsing like a heartbeat, the visual becomes abstract. Galaxies swirl into spirals of light that fade into human irises, neurons fire and become supernovae, a drop of water mirrors the curvature of space. Everything is reflection. Everything is one. The narrator's voice grows tender, the universe hides its power not to deny us but to guide us, to teach us to see. The force was never a secret waiting to be unlocked. It was a mirror, waiting for us to look closely enough to recognize our own reflection within it. In its final moments, the film's rhythm slows. The camera drifts outward, beyond Earth, beyond the Milky Way, beyond the visible edge of the cosmos. There is no border, no wall, only a soft horizon of light fading into infinite black. The music becomes a single sustained note, pure, resonant, eternal. The narrator whispers the closing words, we are the question and the answer, the seeker and the sought, the hidden force and the revelation. The universe hides nothing. It simply waits for us to see. The screen fades to white. For a heartbeat, everything vanishes, sound, light, motion. Then, slowly, a faint vibration returns. The hum of the quantum vacuum, the background radiation, the eternal rhythm of being. It grows louder, not in volume but in depth, filling the silence with the weight of everything. And then, nothing. A long, deliberate silence. The audience breathes. Somewhere deep within that silence they feel it, the same pulse that moves through stars, through oceans, through their own veins. The force has been revealed not through spectacle but through stillness. The realization dawns. The story was never about discovering the universe. It was about remembering we were never separate from it.